Hi Cancer, welcome to your weekly forecast for February 17th through the 23rd. We're going to connect here, see what's happening in the week ahead with this lovely deck here. And then we're going to pull an affirmation card for you all from this deck here. So without further ado, my darlings, let's jump right on in and see what's happening for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Cancer, you guys can usually be kind of sensitive to moon energy. And the full moon we had in Leo last week was pretty much a doozy. That's why I'm going to be using these oracle cards. I'm going to do all oracle cards. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of people are in a really big crossroads right now, facing their fears. And when we're in that kind of energy, I like to go and just do all oracle cards. So we have here for you all, Monday, Tuesday, Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. Now, this is a general reading, so it's going to be different for different ones of you. Some of you are really going to be embracing and connecting with your feminine side and making decisions based on your intuition. Now, I want to clarify something. This does not mean that if you are a man or if you identify as male that you are incapable of having a strong intuition. That's not what that means at all. However, in terms of energy, as far as energy goes, intuition is categorized as feminine energy. So for some of you, this is going to be a card having to do specifically with your intuition. Creativity is also categorized as feminine energy. But I know a lot of very creative, masculines. It's just that, we all have feminine and physical energy within ourselves. And you may be embracing the characteristics that are classified as feminine energy. For some of you, there's a healing happening with your relationships with females or with women. And this is going to be regardless of if you are male or female, or if you date men or if you date women, regardless. There's going to be a healing with your feminine relationships. I feel there's some sense of blockages being removed as such also as well. So if you have fears that have been instilled in you by a feminine energy in your life, by a mother figure, something of this sort, this may be healing, or this may be something that you're beginning to release Monday, Tuesday, and you may be even healing a relationship with that person, right? So if you've been kind of on the outs with your mother or with a sibling, a feminine sibling, that might be coming into a time of healing. Or even if it's a situation where unfortunately maybe they've passed on, or there's just no way that you guys would ever speak because of the way that the situation is, it could be a healing of the relationship within yourself, that energetically you're letting it go, you're healing it, you're allowing yourself to not allow it to affect your life negatively anymore. I do feel some of you have been working or doing something in terms of trying to have visuals or visions during meditation work. I don't know why. I feel like I'm like sitting down and meditating and like seeing like a kaleidoscope of like colors and things in my third eye. So I feel some of you are beginning to manifest some kind of divination or some kind of ability to do more of like the dream work with spirit, or the visualizing messages coming in through visions as well. So if that's something you've been working towards, you may really be finding that you're making significant progress Monday, Tuesday in that path, in that way. Your Wednesday, Thursday card, Cancer, is Fourth Ray of Harmony. And I forgot to say for you guys, so I'm going to say it right now. I always encourage you to take a look at the cards and see what's jumping out at you, the images, the colors, and how they speak to you. This is a really great exercise to strengthen your own intuition, reading symbols, things of that nature. So I encourage you to do that as well as I'm doing this general reading. It might be a nice way for you to be able to connect personally. So the Fourth Ray of Harmony is a term that the creator of this deck has come up with to indicate coming into, connection with your spiritual gifts. and your sensitivities to energy. Now, this is aside from what the creator of this deck has in mind. I'm just going to go ahead and say real quick before I forget. I feel there's a strong sense of empath kind of abilities that a lot of you are going to become more aware of. But, you know, and some people hear, oh, well, I'm an empath, so things are hard for me, or I get drained easy. And that's true. That is a part of being an empath. However, I feel it in a sense of empowerment. So I feel that a lot of you are beginning to be able to harness your empath abilities in a way that's going to benefit you and that's going to help you make better connections for yourself. This is a card that's associated with Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Gabriel is the messages of is the angel of the messages. Okay, in the Christian belief, he's the angel that came to Mary and told her that she would be giving birth to Jesus. In the Islamic religion, he's the angel said to come down from heaven and give Muhammad the writing that became the Quran. So this is going to be a message, like messages coming to you. So remember how I said with the first card, I felt like some of you were going to be kind of connecting, like you've been wanting to see things through like visions or see things in the third eye. But Wednesday, Thursday, there's also going to be an increase for some of you in clairaudience. And so clairaudience is when we have messages that we begin to feel from spirit or hear from spirit. I want to clarify something about clairaudience. Clairaudience is not a physical hearing. Like right now, those of you that have the ability to hear, you're hearing my voice physically. Or if somebody's in the room with you talking to you, you physically hear them. That's not how you hear spirit when you're clairaudient. It's not a physical sense of hearing. But it's very similar to, like, you know, if you have a thought that gets stuck in your head or a song that gets stuck in your head, that kind of energy. And so a lot of you are going to begin really feeling connected with sound, music, sounds, bells. You know, some of you are feeling very called or drawn to like the singing bowls. This is all about you tuning energetically. And a lot of you are going to get very, very clear about who and what is draining you and disconnecting from those energies. I feel Cancer, for some reason, a lot of you are around people who are like just uber, like big time activists in some way. Activism. And maybe some of you were really devoting your life to activism or to a cause. Maybe there was something political that you really felt like you had to fight against, or something that you felt like, you know, you were having to do, like kind of like going into like the spiritual battle, and you saw it as a way of like being a light worker. But maybe you're beginning to see aspects of it that are kind of militant, or maybe borderline violent, or like moving in that direction. You're like, you know what? This energy is super harsh. I don't like where this is headed. Maybe I got into it because I had good intentions. Maybe the people that are around me, they had good intentions, but this is beginning to turn into something ugly. This is beginning to turn into something hateful. So I feel some of you are beginning to distance yourself from a former cause or a former group of people, a former belief that it's beginning to maybe go in a more negative, low vibrational route, and you're disconnecting from it. So you're going to realize and see who and what is draining you or bringing down your vibe, and you're going to be stepping away from it as well. Okay, so the next card we have here, my darlings, is Initiation by Air. So this is absolutely a week of spiritual initiation for you guys, because the fourth ray of harmony, the card that we just had for midweek, is also a card about being initiated through like sound and hearing your messages. You're really coming into this massive spiritual awakening, having to do with your intuition, your creativity, your life purpose, kind of stepping into, you know, why you're here and the positive changes that you're going to be bringing in your life. And I don't know why, but I just got a feeling of like children. Some of you are doing something specifically geared towards children, like trying to help heal children, or trying to help children so that especially empath children, like they don't absorb the negativity around them, or that, you know, you're kind of like trying to help, you know, children with their growing up process, or growing up in lower vibrational situations, or economic hardship, or you know, domestic instability, or, you know, sadly maybe even domestic violence, like something to do where you're wanting to instill a sense of protection and hope and assistance to children. I don't know why I got that feeling, my darlings, but I just got that feeling for some of you. So this is the initiation by air. And Cancer, you are a water sign. As a water sign, you're very fluid, very strong in the realm of emotions, right? Cancers may not, like, you know, open up and, you know, say everything to everybody. They may not, you know, walk around like all, you know, super expressive all the time. But you guys are in touch with your feelings. It's not hard for a Cancer to know what they're feeling. Some people have a really hard time with that. You know, they might, you know, if you say, hey, how are you feeling? It's not an issue of not being able to express it. They don't know. They're not in touch with it. Cancer, you guys are in touch with your emotions as a water sign. Emotions are something you know well. Coming into initiation by air means where there's mental confusion or like mental fogginess, where maybe you're having a hard time organizing your thoughts around what you're feeling. Like, you know what you're feeling, you know what's making you unhappy, but maybe it's been challenging to get into the realm of air, into the realm of intellect, and formulate a plan about how you're going to change, or what you're going to change, or how you're going to, you know, get out of a certain situation. And so initiation by air says all of that crown chakra energy, all of that mental blocks, all of that stuff is clearing and opening up to where you're going to have a rushing in, some of you, of ideas. Like all of a sudden you have these limitless, not limited, but limitless ideas, limitless beliefs. You're not being held back anymore, where maybe before your thoughts were holding you back, or keeping you stifled or stagnant. You're breaking out of that. And so you're having initiation by air in terms of your ideas. And some of you are going to have these epiphanies about how you're going to make a difference, or how you're going to make a change, right? It's, you know, we start small. We start small. It doesn't have to be anything massive. It doesn't mean that we have to be a famous person. We just do it in our way, like in our purpose, and we help our niche, or we help our community, or we help the vibration we're meant to help. And so some of you are having epiphanies as to how you're going to go about putting your gifts and abilities to use, how you're going to go about making the changes, how you're going to go about connecting with soul family. And I really do feel like a lot of you, even though this is air, and this is, we don't really have necessarily any cards indicating anything about the throat chakra, I do feel for some of you, you're feeling very motivated to go into public speaking. You feel like if you can go into public, like not just public speaking, but like motivational speaking. Like you're going to go and you're going to talk to people about what you've been through, or like your own experience or your own story. And you're going to find that you're helping a lot of people in that way as well. I'm getting a feeling of like being on a stage and just kind of saying, this is it. This is my story. This is me. This is my life. This is what I've been through. You know, I got out. You can too. That kind of energy. Okay. Maybe some of you are even doing something in terms of stand-up comedy, because even as I was saying that, Ray Romano popped up in my head. And, you know, before Ray Romano had his show, Everybody Loves Raymond, and before he made a name for himself, he came to my high school as a motivational speaker. For those of us kids who maybe were not very academically motivated, he just like kind of came and told a story about like how he found his gifts and his talents, and you know, like kind of like found like his way of going through life, because you know, he wasn't motivated by, you know, certain academic, you know, some people, they get really into that. They're very competitive. They study for hours. They, you know, they'll write the papers, and they're like trying to get into the best college and the best school. I was never on that vibe. Archangel, I wasn't stupid. When I applied myself, I got good grades, but I wasn't motivated by that. I wasn't motivated by like intellect, like intellectual things in terms of like, you know, areas of study. And there's different kinds of intelligence. So that's kind of what he was coming in and talking to us about. And so there could be something here in that way too. Maybe some of you are wanting to do something in terms of stand-up comedy, or you're realizing that your intellect, that you're very witty. You know, maybe you're doing something and getting into humor, or you're beginning a project where you're wanting to spread a message through humor. Like, well, there's a whole lot of negativity out there, right? And I want to bring about change, but I don't want to get into like the militant kind of stuff, and I don't want to get into like, you know, fighting with everybody. But what if we brought humor into the equation? So there could be something like that for some of you as well. Let's go ahead and see what's happening here with your affirmation card. And I encourage you guys to watch your moon sign and rising sign videos. Some weeks those may resonate with you more than others. You may need a private reading. I do have a couple of spots left for the special that I'm having for the 60-minute readings. If you don't get in for the discounted 60-minute readings, there are other options on the Calendly link as well that maybe might work for you. But let's see what's happening for you guys here. And so we have, to relinquish control, I simply let loose and allow myself to be more childlike. So I did get an energy of kids, right? And maybe for some of you, you're not necessarily doing anything with children, but you are kind of connecting with the inner child or doing the more playful kind of stuff. And so when it says to relinquish control, this doesn't mean that like you're surrendering your life to a way where you're like, whatever happens, happens, I don't care. No. We're not talking about like going to that extreme where you're just too cool or too quote unquote spiritual to care, but rather you don't feel like you're responsible for everyone and everything. And you don't feel like you have to turn every conversation and every situation into having the you know, quote unquote right outcome. Like you understand, you surrender that some things will go a certain way, some things go another way. When we surrender control, the ideal way to surrender control is you're still doing your best. You're still showing up every single day. You still care. You're still making an effort to make changes in your life, but you're understanding that, you know, we can't control how quickly things change, or we can't control the way other people are going to respond. So by being in that element of your childlike energy and having life simply to have the experience, right? For example, maybe you're wanting to connect with your humor like I was talking about. Maybe you begin working on a screenplay, or maybe you begin writing a comedy or a novel, or maybe you start getting into stand-up comedy, right? But if you're in that childlike energy, you're doing it for the sake of doing it, because it's fun, because it's bringing you joy, because you're learning, because you're exploring. You know, a child doesn't do things from ego. They might get discouraged, right? Like if they draw a picture and they come up and they show it to you and you say, oh my goodness, it's so wonderful. What is it? And then they get sad that you don't know what they drew, right? So maybe in that way, their little egos get hurt a little bit. But they don't sit down with this thing of like, I'm going to be the best drawer and draw artist. I don't know. This is going to be the best drawing from all the other kids. They don't necessarily really think that way when they're very young, right? They do it because they enjoy doing it, and then they're proud that they made something, and they might want to share it with other people. But a child doesn't go in ego, like with ego, that this is going to be like the best painting a 4-year-old ever did in all the history of you know, the world, right? They don't have that way of thinking. So you want to approach it in that way. Whatever it is that you're doing, do it for the experience, for the sake of it, for the joy of it. And then things will naturally begin to flow. You'll naturally find your niche. You'll begin to, attract the right opportunities and friendships and things like this to you. Okay, so just kind of relax and allow yourself to be in the moment in that way. If you have not watched the channeled angel messages for February, that might be helpful. So make sure you click on that. And those of you that you're looking for more love readings, you can click on the love readings in the description of the video as well. And I know a lot of people are going to ask about my nails because a lot of you always do. And this particular style actually is something you can do. So I have a link in the description of how, you know, the design or how I got this. So you can go ahead and check that out as well. But I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. If you would like daily messages, guys, please don't forget Instagram and Facebook, Amethyst Angellight. I post a message every single morning. I do a card of the day. And then later on in the day, towards the evening, I'll do a fun little pick a card game. I'm going to be posting a little affirmation ritual thing there for the new moon in a few days. And I've been posting more like memes and things like to be helpful with spiritual path as well. So be sure to take advantage of, you know, getting those messages every single day as well. So that's Amethyst Angellight on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. I am wishing you a fabulous week, my dears. Take care.